the Garlic Boys podcast, where we treat friendship like good recipes treat garlic. You can never have too much of it. We're your hosts. I'm Connor O'Connor,
And I'm Dr. Demento,
Dr. Demento, otherwise known as Dwight Schrute, aka Matthew Haux,
aka Rainn Wilson.
aka Rainmaker Money Shaker. I don't know, dude. We are recording way later than we usually do because I got busy tonight and
Yeah.
I'm like on the edge of loopy.
Oh, for sure. I passed that like an hour ago.
I took a nap earlier because I thought that was gonna help.
Yeah.
It didn't. I'm just so out of it. But we're here.
Yep.
How was your week, Matt?
My week's been all right. It was harrowed by voting, which was annoying. And not to get political or anything.
Oh no.
But who the heck came up with the term gubernatorial? You never heard of that? It has to do with the governor, but the word is gubernatorial.
Goober? Are you sure it's goober?
Guber, goober. Unless it's gubber, which I think is so much worse. But that word is the silliest word on the planet, and it has to do with our government.
Oh yeah, because why would our government do anything that's silly and doesn't make any sense?
It just baffles me. I heard that word for the first time this voting cycle, and I was like, huh? What is a gubernatorial? Gubernatorial.
No,
what?
Where did you hear that word?
Probably like Fox News or something. Not that I watch Fox News, but it was on at work.
So, like, can you give me a context for it? Because I've never heard this word before.
It's like, I don't know. I heard the word. It's just like gubernatorial elections or gubernatorial candidate. I think it was candidate. Gubernatorial candidate.
Are you sure that since you heard it on Fox News that they weren't mocking the candidate?
No. Pretty sure I've read it. I read it when I was researching who to vote for too. Like, it's an actual word. I swear.
I'll tell you what.
I'll look it up right now.
I'll tell you what. If it was on the ballot, I didn't read that. Not that I didn't read my ballot, because I mean I didn't. I just found the name and then circled the circle.
You filled in the circle. Yeah. Like I knew who I was voting for going in. Like I just went in and boom. Like okay. Gubernatorial election relating to a state governor or the office of state governor. And it is like gubernatorial. That's how it's spelled.
But where's the B coming from?
What do you mean, where's the B?
Gubernatorial.
Right.
In the word governor, there's no B.
Yeah, there's no U either, but it's Guber.
Right. Like where are you getting that from? It's like when you shortened refrigerator to fridge and there's just a random D now.
You just threw an extra letter in there.
It's like there's so many words in the English language that I know they just took a Scrabble tile bag, grabbed a handful out and threw them down and went, okay, what can we make with this? And it's not just silent letters. There's some words that just don't make sense. And I know I'm not the only one that believes this, because I know people that aren't dyslexic that have trouble spelling a lot of words.
Oh, absolutely.
Receipt?
Oh, the E and the I? No.
Where did they go? It's not even that. There's a P in there. It's recipient. It's recipient. The word Q, like, oh, I'm gonna put that in my Q.
Yeah, QUEQ or whatever it is.
You're using 5 letters when you need 1.
It is so late, and I don't know why we're talking about this because we're gonna get like heated. Okay, so because the listeners love when we delve into the origins of stuff. I doubt they do, but they will now.
What's the etymology of this word?
So the origin is is Greek and Latin. All right, both. So it seems like Greek is, I can't speak Greek, but it's kubernan, Kubernan, which means to steer. Latin is gubernare, I'm assuming it has the A at the end, to steer or govern. Also Latin is gubernator.
The gubernator.
With my gubernator.
That's what the bowler hat guy from Meet the Robinsons should have been called. The gubernator.
Yeah. Yeah. So that means governor, and then eel is IAL at the end is just the English suffix ending, whatever the ending is,
suffix,
that they just tacked on at the end to make it mean governorial. It's terrible. It's a terrible word. We should abolish it and just say the governor elections. It's I don't know. Figure a better word.
Dear listeners, if you ever say or write a word and somebody tells you that's not a real word, you've made up that word, that's a made up word, fight them.
Point them to this word.
Let them know all words are made up.
True, very true.
Shakespeare made so many words like just up. Like he just invented a language.
You shouldn't have to be famous or potentially future famous to create words. Just create them now, right now.
Like it doesn't have to be just slang terms either. Like things. I recently found out that the high five was invented by someone that's still alive. Like I know that's not a word. I think I sent you this video.
Yeah, probably.
Like, if it's that easy to do something that is now like the easiest thing to teach a child of just a high five, you can make up words, dude.
Yeah,
you can change the landscape of an entire language.
I mean, to be fair, though.
Thank
you. Finally, after what 6 episodes, we do that. We do. We do that a lot, though. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like currently, especially for me, stuff, I use it ironically at first, and then it turns into like an actual thing that I do on a regular basis. Like at work, it's still ironic. I would argue it's still entirely ironic. But I dab a lot, like all the time. Especially after making your mom joke, which again, completely ironic. I mean no offense, and I've cleared it with my coworkers to make sure they're comfortable with those jokes.
Hey Alex, do you mind if I make fun of your mother?
No, like I if I use those jokes with my coworkers, I always say, like, if ever at any point in time you are ever uncomfortable, just tell me, and I will never say another your mom joke again or a joke like that again. Regardless, I do a lot of dabbing. It is entirely ironic, but it is part of my everyday thing. So I feel like we do that. To be fair, has become a big thing with a lot of people because of Letterkenny. And
when I started going to college, I didn't really say Pittsburghese a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then people
like
from
yins and stuff.
Yeah, but like I started saying yins. I say it unironically now. I'll text it, which I feel like when you start texting with slang, that's like the biggest indication that it's finally taken over in your head.
Yeah.
Yins. One thing that I didn't know was Pittsburghese, and what like I think started me on my journey of unironically using it was sweeper.
Oh my gosh.
Which no, I just bring up something that was an argument in the past with
No, it's just words. Okay. Words like this make me want to slap people. Not you specifically. It's just my
It's
coworker.
a vacuum. Call it a vacuum.
What do you call this? What do you call this? Something that controls something. Don't say it.
That's a clicker, my guy.
No, it is not. It's not a clicker. Oh my gosh, my coworker is gonna love you for this, but he always like, hand me the clicker. Hand me the clicker. It's a remote. It is
you
a
wanted
remote.
me to say remote control. Yes.
Remote. It's fine. I don't care. Remote is actually remote, clicker, same amount of syllables, just as easy to say. Just say remote. Just say what it's supposed to be. Soda, pop. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started.
Well, yeah, it's pop. It's so much easier to say. It's one syllable.
I don't care. I'm
No,
not
you can't just
describing.
make. You cannot.
I'm
just
not
make
describing the
argument.
onomatopoeic syllable for the word. I'm trying to tell you what it is. It's soda. It's not pop. It's not sody pop. It's not Coke. Coke is a brand for sure.
To Atlanta, it's everything.
Yeah, to Atlanta, they're stupid. Sorry, I'm sorry, Atlanta listeners. We would. That's Alabama, my guy. You're talking about Atlanta, which is in Georgia, which I don't think they use Coke.
No, the Coke factory is in Georgia. Like it's in Atlanta.
That's fascinating.
I'm
I don't know
pretty
any
sure.
of this.
Yeah, that's why they call it Coke mainly down there. It could be worse though. It could be worse than the whole soda and pop debate. In England, they call them fizzy drinks.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to talk about made up words, just look up a list of what English and British people call things. Because it's like, oh, do you know what they call elevators?
Lifts?
Yeah. It's a room that lifts you up, so we're going to call it a lift.
Yeah,
like that's the most lazy naming convention you can ever do.
To be fair, we do fall. We do fall instead of autumn.
No, we're not going to do this because fall actually has a whole thing behind it.
I don't care. It's autumn sounds so much nicer. It sounds prettier. It sounds it feels good to say. Fall is just like something I use all the time because I fall all the time. Falling for you. Oh, there's the dab.
You just Oh goodness. I cannot find it, but there's an actual reason why we use the word fall, and it's not just the leaves fall down from the tree, so we call it fall. Or whatever the British people want to tell you what it is. They act so high and mighty, and yet they're the worst people on the planet. Irish, love the Irish. I've been to Northern Ireland. It's great. I count that as Ireland, not as Britain.
Listen, you are ostracizing an entire group of people from ever listening to our podcast past episode 6.
I watch so much British television. I consume so much of it on YouTube. It's so hard to take them seriously when they say ice lollies instead of popsicle.
Okay, that's a little weird.
You sound like 4-year-olds naming things. You sound like my 3-year-old niece has made up a name for herself, and that's what it sounds like when British people are naming things. You're just coming up with the most basic way to describe something and making that thing's entire personality.
Uh-huh.
All right, now that we're done with those rants,
we've got a bit off the rails from talking about holy crap, how did we start this? Politics was but I don't even think you asked me how my week was.
that whole 20-minute rant was just, Matt, how was your week?
How was your week, Connor?
It's all right, pretty uneventful.
That's good. That's good. Uneventful is better than eventful. Well, depending on the eventful, but still.
Yeah, it was nice. We finally got the kitchen open at my one job.
Ooh, okay.
And be working in that, and that's going to be fun, but it's also going to be stupid because I don't like working with food.
Yeah, I know. We worked at Sheets together for a while, and that was a hoot and a half.
Sheets was its own giant to overcome.
Yeah.
Especially was it you that was working the counter when the dude came in and paid with a sock full of coins?
Yeah. I think I was working the shift. I don't know if I was working the counter.
This guy comes in and wants to buy a pack of cigarettes, I think, and they tell him the price, and he goes, "Okay," just whips out a sock and slams it onto the counter, and it's just full of coins. And so then the cashier has to sit there and count everything. Excuse me. And there's a line building up behind him, and it's just the most ridiculous situation you can ever think of.
People are
And
a different breed when they come into Sheets. But I will say, we had some good times. Remember that time we were working with Joy and you were working the floor cleaner and singing DuckTales over the headset?
don't act like you weren't also singing DuckTales with
Oh,
me.
I was definitely singing DuckTales back. That was one of the best times I ever had there. It was great.
That was the best shift, that one.
Yeah. And then Joy left and I was very sad. All the joy was gone.
Okay, moving on with the show, just so we can get through this. Matt, do you know what time it is?
Oh, is it clever boy time?
It's time to see if you're a clever boy.
I won last week, so I'm on a streak again.
You're up 2-1. This week we're going to see if you're a triple clever winner. I could not find a better way to phrase that. I'm trying to do a play on the Triple Crown, which is like the one horse that wins all three of the big races.
Oh yeah.
But whatever. We're a triple clever winner. And next week's quiz is, whose canon is this?
Okay.
Whose canon is this?
Nick's.
I'm going to give you... Speaking of Nick Cannon, did you see he announced his 11th child one week, and then the next he announced he's having his 12th child with a different woman?
That guy.
He's building a small army of children.
He's kind of like that movie. I know it's a little bit of a different situation. Because he's consciously doing it. It's kind of like that movie of the guy who like donated to the sperm bank and then like had a bunch of kids.
With Vince Vaughn?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's based on a real story.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Nick's doing. He's just like planting his seed wherever he in a lot of people.
Don't say it. Oh no. I hated that so much. Let's get back to the quiz.
Yes, please.
As again, the name of this is, whose canon is this? I'm going to give you the title of a comic book character.
Oh.
You're going to have to tell me if it's a DC or a Marvel character.
And I can assume it's not going to be like Spider-Man or like Superman. It's going to be like super off the wall characters that nobody's ever heard of except for like one run in 1962.
Yep.
Awesome.
There's 3 on here that I say are very well known.
Yeah.
But the rest of them aren't.
Okay, so but it's only Marvel and DC, right?
Yes, that there's no trick questions of like, oh, this is a Vertigo comic or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Just comic book characters that are under the umbrella of Marvel or DC.
All right, I can do this, maybe.
You ready for the first one?
Uh-oh, so ready.
I think this will be an easy one for you.
Okay.
Arm Fall Off Boy.
Oh, that's DC for sure. He was what Nathan Fillion's character in the Suicide Squad was based off of, right?
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct.
All right.
Nathan Fillion's character was called the Detachable Kid, or TDK, based off of Arm Fall Off Boy, who was a member of the Legion of Superheroes, which is the team from the distant future in the DC universe. So that's 1 point for you.
All right.
We agreed last week that you only need 6. But I think this week, since this is comics,
Oh,
and you have a slight advantage. That we're gonna go with 7.
you can't keep changing the rules on me here.
All right, fine. No, we'll do 6. Just know it's a cheap victory if you win. Number 2.
I don't care as long as I win.
Number 2. Ready?
Yeah.
Mogo.
Mogo.
Mogo. Mogo.
Is it an acronym, or is that his name is Mogo, or their name?
Their name is Mogo. No acronym. It's not a title. It's just. I'll even tell you this: their real name is Mogo. Like it's not even a pseudonym or anything.
I've done a lot of research on a lot of different comic book characters. Never came across his name. I'm gonna go DC again, just because I don't know, and that's my best guess.
Final answer?
Yes, final answer.
That is correct.
Yes!
Mogo is a living planet that is deemed worthy to join the Green Lantern Corps and is given a power ring. He's one of the more obscure characters, and given how crazy the Green Lantern Corps is, it's awesome that there's a living planet.
So it's like Ego from Marvel if he would have gotten a power ring from.
If he was a good person, yes.
Okay.
All right, that's 2 correct for you, Matt. Are you ready for number 3?
I'm so ready.
Your character is Dupe.
Dupe?
Dupe.
DOOP or?
Yep, DOOP.
We've had. See, I was gonna go the route of any characters. I know the Marvel universe a lot better than I know the DC universe. So I was like, any character I don't know, just attribute to the DC. But I don't think that's a smart idea. It's gonna bite me in the butt. So I'm gonna go Marvel with Dupe. Dupe is Marvel.
Final answer?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes!
So Dupe is a member of the X-Force and is closely associated with the X-Men.
Okay.
However, Dupe is not a mutant.
Okay.
It's widely accepted that Dupe is an alien creature, I believe. I'm not an expert on Dupe. I've watched some videos and done some light reading on him. The main thing is no one's really sure where Dupe came from, who Dupe is, anything like that. And there's not many limits to what his powers can do either. But he's sort of just like a wacky and goofy guy. He kind of looks like Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And then he just has like the X symbol on his chest.
All right. Fair
Just
enough.
a little floating lima beam with unlimited power, basically.
All right.
All right, Matt. You have 3 out of 3 correct so far. How are you feeling about this?
I listen. I want to say feeling good, but I've been guessing for the last 2, and I don't think they're gonna get it easier, and I don't think I'm gonna get any luckier. So we'll see. We'll see.
I will be honest with you. Those 3 were the easy ones.
I hate you so
much. It gets a little harder from here.
All right.
All right. Number 4. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
Who makes these comics? I mean, I know that's what I'm trying to figure out in this quiz show.
Literally the reason behind this.
But what? Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew?
Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
I'm gonna
Come on.
Yeah. This is a Marvel. Marvel's my best guess. Final answer.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Matt, that is incorrect.
I knew it wouldn't last forever.
Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew is an alternate Earth version of the Justice League.
They need to quit with the alternate Earth versions.
If I remember correctly, it is an Earth 32. Which is like one of the ones that's not really talked about a lot.
Yeah. That's fair because they have characters like Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
I don't know why you're hating on Captain Carrot. He didn't do anything wrong.
What does he do? Like, is his powers really great eyesight and like carrots shoot out of his wrists or something?
No, he's like a super strong bunny. Hold on.
He's like a super strong bunny. Okay. Yeah. No, I guess that's pretty DC.
How do you spell carrot?
Carrot.
Here we go. I figured it out. First try, all by myself. So the members of the Zoo Crew are Captain Carrot, Pig Iron, Alley Cat Abra, Fastback, Rubber Duck, Yankee Poodle, Little Cheese, and the American Eagle.
Nice. Not a comic series I would ever read.
Let's see. Captain Carrot is it Roger Rabbit? No, his name is Roger Rabbit, but there was confusion. It says here over the fact that it sounds like he is Roger Rabbit.
Right.
It seems they're from Earth 26.
Listen, I'm hating on Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew, but like that someone who's listening right this second is probably like, oh my god, like those are my favorite characters. That was my favorite run that DC ever did. And he's
the best comic book ever created.
He's bashing on Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. And I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. If that's your favorite comic book character, I mean, that you can have your favorite comic book characters, whatever you want it to be. It could be the little shark that's in Marvel right now, the little shark with legs. It could be. That's probably my favorite character, if I'm being 100% honest.
One of the most adorable things that have ever been created.
I'm just saying, you can like whatever you want, but I have the right to say that is a garbage run, in my opinion.
Let me see if this changes your mind.
It won't.
Pig Iron, his real name is Peter Porkchops.
I hate that so much.
Oh, just wait. He's a pig from Pittsburgh.
Oh no!
Who was struck by a meteor fragment and fell along with the meteorite into a vat of molten metal in steel mill where he worked. The consequent chemical reaction transformed his now enormous body into living steel, with the strength and availability to match.
So he's like kind of like Colossus, but obviously DC and not Colossus.
Right.
A pig, actually.
I think these might be like, I don't know, they kind of seem like they're just not based off of any character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It started as a 16-page insert in the New Teen Titans number 16.
Teen Titans. Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool. It's recent, but yeah, okay. That's Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew.
I think we've bored our listeners enough. I think we should move
on. No, everyone's down there Googling the Zoo Crew, getting
buying the runs.
They're getting little cheese tattooed on them and everything.
Listen, if I'm getting anybody tattooed, it's the Alley Catabra.
Let us know in the comments who your favorite of the zoo crew is. All right, Matt. So that was your first wrong answer.
Yeah, I know.
But we still got 6 more to go. Next one. Sorry, this might be my favorite one. Hell cow.
Huh?
Hell cow.
Hell cow?
HELLCOW.
Like moo cow. All right.
Hell cow.
Gosh, what? Marvel and DC, get your crap together. Get your crap together. These characters should. What? Okay, Marvel. I'm done playing. I'm done. I'm just
What do you
gonna
mean?
guess. I'm just gonna guess from here on out.
What's
Marvel.
wrong with hell cow? Why are you acting like this is the worst thing you ever heard?
Because the animal. First of all, you have to be very selective and tasteful when you're doing animal themed superheroes.
Yeah.
All right. Spider-Man, I know, not an animal. I mean, it's Spider-Man. Fine, I'm cool with that. Batman's pretty cool. They were able to do a cool suit. They were able to do a cool story. Very good, very tasteful. Ant-Man, again, insect, blah blah blah, but animal like. They did that really well.
Mm-hmm.
Hell cow, you're telling me Hell cow? How long did Hell cow last? Like an issue or two?
I don't have that information relatively available right now. But if you give me a second, let's see what we can pull up about him.
We really don't have to bore our listeners, but
are you sure? I just found Hell cow's literal stats.
Oh my gosh, stats? Somebody cared enough about Hell cow to create a stat block for them.
All right. Are you ready?
Marvel's my answer. Yeah.
I will tell you, you are correct.
Hellcat thank goodness.
Created by Marvel. He's relatively usually with Deadpool and things.
I hate to say it, but I guess that's fair.
Circa 1675, Bessie, a domesticated cow living in a Swiss farm, becomes the prey of Count Dracula, who is unable to find any available humans to feed on. Bessie seemingly dies, and an upset Hans, her owner, lays her to rest. Unbeknownst to Hans, Bessie had become an undead monster known as Hell Cow, which raises from her grave some 3 nights later in search of Dracula to take revenge on him.
I hate it so much, but like that's very Deadpool. That's very Deadpool. So I guess I'll let it slide.
Hell Cow made her official debut in Giant-Sized Man-Thing number 5 in August of 1975. And the characters teamed up with many people, but mostly it's Deadpool is who she'll team up with. But yeah,
she is menacing.
Yeah, that's Hell Cow.
Wow, I mean, some pictures she's just like a cow with like red eyes and a cloak.
Yeah,
that's so great. And then in some pictures she's like obviously Hell Cow, demonic. Very interesting question. Why? It's a she. Why does she have horns?
Devil Cow.
I guess. Sending mixed signals here. Lots of mixed signals.
Hey man, I'm just reporting on what I found.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for your next one?
I am more than ready.
Your character's name is Orb.
Orb? Oh. I feel like I feel like I've heard of this one. I feel like I know it, but I'm gonna get it wrong and I'm gonna feel stupid. Marvel.
Marvel. Final answer.
Marvel. Final answer.
That is correct.
Oh yes.
Orb is from the Marvel Universe. From what I can tell here. Let's see, where did it go? Orb was born with a head in the form of a giant eye. Due to this deformity, he was abandoned by his parents at an early age and raised in a freak show, where he was forced to sleep in cages and eat cat food. The Orb grew up, laughed at and mocked, and stayed a... Why does that need to be in his biography? I'm not reading that line. That's not information anyone needs.
Oh man.
If you want to look it up, the Orb on fandom, but like that's stupid to include. He wasn't able to speak for a long time before he learned he could just make squishy sounds.
Okay.
If you look him up, he's literally just a giant eye on a regular dude's body.
Yes, I've heard of this one.
Such a weird character. He was at one point, it looks like the eyepiece of the Watcher. Or like was closely related with the Watcher at some point.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. That is definitely not necessary to put in there.
Yeah, why would you add that?
I mean, I assume to highlight on his deformity, I guess, which I think is a little insensitive, but
it's shame. It's shaming him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to promote that.
If you're shaming people, listen, listeners. If you're shaming people with giant eyeballs for heads, you need to look inward. Maybe you're shaming your own giant eyeballs.
Yeah, because I can promise you, he sees something in you that you don't see in him.
Because he's all giant eyeball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He sees really well.
Or half as well, just bigger.
All right. That you got that last one correct, Matt. Next one, number 7. Big Bertha.
Big Bertha. Listen.
Yep.
I'm gonna. Gosh darn it, I'm gonna go just on a complete and total guess. I'm gonna go DC for this one.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Unfortunately, Matt, that is incorrect.
I hate you.
I think you might have been thinking of Big Barda, who is the wife to Mr. Miracle, aka Scott Free. His real name, the man who can escape things, his name was Scott Free. But Big Barda was...
he was the one. He was the one in. Wait a second. Is that the guy in She-Hulk?
No. Mr. Miracle and Big Barda are from DC. Okay. Big Bertha, if you've ever seen anything from the Great Lake Avengers, is the muscle on that team.
Yeah, I have
it. Let me pull up her biography for you.
The reason there's a character like Mr. Miracle, I guess, that was in the She-Hulk, the guy that the ladies were suing because he kept killing himself but then coming back to life to escape the marriage, essentially.
Yes, that is a different character.
Gotcha.
He might have a similar name.
I think it had something to do with miracles, but yeah, it could be just different character entirely. Okay.
Let's see. Did I have her pulled up? I didn't. Um, basically, have you ever seen the West Coast event, or not West Coast, Great Lakes Avengers? She is in the yellow singlet. Um, she is very large. She is a mutant. She is very strong. She has the ability to alter her size and mass, as well as the durability to match that.
Nice.
Yeah, I recommend looking into the Great Lake Avengers. They're interesting.
I've heard of them over the years.
Their one member is Flatman, who basically looks just like Mr. Fantastic, and like can stretch and everything just like he can, but he's completely flat. Like
Nice.
he's a two-dimensional being.
Nice. Very interesting.
Very, very funny. All right, but that is the wrong answer for you, Matt.
Yeah.
We are on to our next question. The Blonde Phantom. Whose canon is that?
The Blonde Phantom.
The Blonde Phantom.
Gosh. The Blonde Phantom. Blonde Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this line of questioning because it makes me second guess everything that I've learned over the years as far as Marvel and DC comics goes. I'm gonna go DC.
DC.
DC. The Blonde Phantom is DC.
Is that your final answer?
Unfortunately, yes.
That is incorrect.
Gosh darn it. I'm phoning a friend on the next one.
The Blonde Phantom is sort of based off of like hard-boiled detectives from the early comics and everything. She was originally a Timely Comics character back before they were Marvel, and she was part of the golden age of comics. And her last appearance in that time was in 1949, but she wasn't seen again for 40 years until 1989. She showed up in the sensational She-Hulk run, where she was a middle-aged widow with 2 children.
Very interesting.
Her daughter then becomes the superhero Blonde Phantom in later in the same run of sensational. Jesus,
sensational She-Hulk.
Yes, that run in January of 1991.
Okay.
I don't know if she had any powers, but she donned a domino face mask, which is just like those small black masks, a scarlet red evening gown and heels, and fought crime with an automatic pistol.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
That's what's up. All right, Matt, number 9. Bullet Man and Bullet Girl.
I hate you so much. What?
Who wrote Bullet Man and Bullet Girl?
I'm saying this only because we've had a couple Marvels in a row. So this is how I take tests. If I've had too many letters in a row, I switch letters. DC.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Bullet Man debuted in Fawcett Comics Nickel Comics #1 in May 17th, 1940, and appeared there in his own title and in Master Comics up until 1949, before falling into comics limbo. DC Comics licensed the Fawcett characters in 1972 and associated Bulletman with the Marvel family and the All-Star Squadron.
All right.
So you got that one correct.
Pretty sure if my math is correct, that brings me to 6 out of 10. So technically I've won, but I'll still answer number 10 just in case.
We're going to put a big technically on that.
Hopefully, if I answer number 10 right, then I'll have your 7 out of 10, but I'll also have my 6 out of 10. So
exactly. So I liked picking this one because you've called me out in the last few quizzes for trick questions that weren't technically quick trick questions, but this one was technically a trick question. So when Bullet Man and Bullet Girl, Jim Barr and his girlfriend, later wife Susan Kent, were first established, they were in the Fawcett comics. But Fawcett comics were later acquired by DC, and they became part of the DC canon of superheroes.
Right.
And so I was hoping that would trip you up, that they were originally a Fawcett comics character. But you were able to get that one.
I've never heard of them, so
neither had I.
So there's no way I would know that they were Fawcett comics characters.
Bullet Man was Jim Barr, who was left alone when his police officer father was targeted by criminals. He became a forensic scientist and ballistics expert, of course. He developed a serum to remove people's criminal inclinations, but when he tried it on himself, he gained a greater muscle power and brain power. With a gravity-regulating helmet that allowed him to fly, he fought crime as Bullet Man. His girlfriend, later wife, Susan Kent, joined him as Bullet Girl.
Can you imagine flying around with just your head? Like your head is just pulling your flailing body everywhere.
Yep. You're just like, how do you, unless it like changes the way your brain works to allow you to fly, you have to jump head first and then it just pulls you, right?
Right. It's like a Mjolnir, but for your head.
Right.
Yeah. So he's just like, the only thing, his neck must hurt at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Like unless he's just like Magneto does, where he just kind of is straight up and down. If you're flying, your natural inclination is to be at an angle. You know what I mean? So if he's flying, I mean, there's nothing. Oh man, that would hurt. He'd have to like, he's like
probably got the straightest back ever, though.
Probably.
Like, there's no way that man has scoliosis.
He's got to go to the chiropractor though for those neck problems.
Neck problems for sure, but
yeah.
All right, Matt. Are you ready for the final one?
Final question. Let's go.
Whose canon is Brother Power the Geek?
Brother Power the Geek.
Brother Power the Geek.
We need to start recording in the same room so that I can punch you when I need to. Because you anger me, Connor.
I don't believe violence is very becoming of a clever
I don't
boy.
believe violence. Shut up. It's Marvel Comics. It's Marvel Comics.
Final answer?
Yeah.
In the 1960s, DC Comics struggled to connect to the counterculture. One oddball attempt was Brother Power the Geek, which debuted in October 1968. A reworking of the Frankenstein myth, Brother Power was a tailor's dummy clad in hippie wet clothes. After months, the dummy became animated when it was struck by lightning. Brother Power fell into the psychedelic circus, ran for Congress, and was chased by a biker gang.
Hey, DC Comics, little message for you here. That's not how anything works.
In his second and final issue, December 1968, Brother Power was shot into space by the order of then California Governor Ronald Reagan. He didn't come back from the comics limbo until 1989, appearing in Swamp Thing Annual number 5 and Vertigo One Shot, which recast him as a failed elemental.
Classic Reagan.
It's crazy.
To be fair, though, based on Reagan's policies, trickle down. He did trickle down. He did trickle back down to Earth.
But how does sending him into space help with a wealth disparity, Matt?
Trickle down economics, Connor. That's how. Shoot him as far as you can, and then eventually he'll trickle down to back down to Earth.
But that's not how gravity works.
Yeah, but that's how trickle down economics works.
Clearly, that's not how trickle down economics works, because if that's how it worked,
no,
it would be working.
No, we're just not shooting it far enough. We're just not putting the money far enough.
You're right. The billionaires aren't richer yet. We need to get them more money.
We need to send them to space. That's what we really need to do. Send them to space, and it'll make its way here. That's just physics.
Exactly. Alrighty, Matt, would you like to introduce your topic for this week?
No. I got 6 out of 10, so I need you to say it.
Matt, for getting 6 out of 10, you win this week's Clever Boy quiz, which makes you a triple clever winner.
Yeah. All right.
On your total win-loss column, you have 3 wins and 1 loss.
Yep. It's looking up for me, baby. I did, to be fair. I do need to stop saying that. Like, I do say it way too much.
That's why I stopped responding, because you say it a lot.
Listen, it's my work friends, you know? So they've conditioned me. Anyway, so I was at work, and on Netflix, there is a game, a trivia game that I played, not Trivia Crack, the better trivia game. And it's really difficult. There's really difficult questions. The only reason I beat the game is because I went through it so many times that I started memorizing the answers to questions. It's freaking impossible to beat the game, but I did. It's not impossible. It's very difficult. Very difficult. That's not my topic, but I just wanted to tell you, I did my trivia practice this weekend.
So what you're saying is I have to make the quizzes harder.
What I'm saying is we need to film the quiz segment 100 times, and then I will eventually memorize all the answers and get everything correct.
Are you sure? Do you want to retry who's bonier? Do you think you could remember
yes.
the answers?
Oh, another thing I would like to point out. Babies are technically humans.
We are not doing no.
Babies. I'm not talking about in the womb babies, because that's another debate entirely. I'm talking babies outside of the womb have more bones than we do currently, than they do when they age and become adults.
Right, but that has no bearing on what happened in that
segment. You said which has more, humans, which babies are a part of, or
babies are barely people.
They're still people. They are still part of the human species, which means that I would have gotten a few of those correct.
But you didn't.
I think we need, I didn't then, but I think we need to have a referee go back and listen to all of the answers with this new bone range in mind.
There's no bone range.
Yeah,
we were going off the adult rate
206 to like. Do you know how many bones babies have? It's like 300.
We were going off of the adult range for all of those species.
We didn't specify that at first.
I don't have to specify anything to you.
Listen, we'll let it slide this time.
I mean,
we'll let it slide.
You can either let it slide or just stay salty forever.
Oh no. We're gonna let it slide, and I'm gonna say salty forever.
No, it's got to be one or the other. You can't do both.
All right, my topic for this episode. My topic for this episode is dragons.
Okay.
Specifically whether or not they were real. And I would like to give my opening argument, and then you can give a rebuttal or an agreeal. I don't remember what the legal term for agreeal is. So first of all, dragons, it based on current species, current animals that have evolved from animals of the past over millions of years, whatever it is, based on all of that, you would assume that dragons, in order to fly, would be like the animals of today and some of the animals of back then that had to have hollow bones like birds do in order to fly, to stay in flight, to be light enough, but also I guess sturdy enough, light enough to be able to fly. So if dragons had hollow bones, it also means that they would not fossilize well or at all, which means that the countless civilizations that at the time could not have been communicating with each other, the countless civilizations that didn't have communication with each other, that all saw and depicted in some sort of way, writings or art, dragon-like creatures, winged lizards. Listen, dragons are real. Dragons are 100% real, or at least they were. Maybe they still are. Maybe that's why. Maybe they evolved to live in the cold, and they live in Antarctica right now, or one of the Arctics, or in the water. Who knows? But by doing all of this pollution and all of this stuff, and the ice caps are melting, the dragons are going to come back, and they're going to wipe out the entirety of civilization. One can hope, Also, it's in the Bible. There's dragons in the Bible. There's dragons in the Bible. So
do you want to run me that reference?
Revelation, my guy. Revelation. There's lots of stuff. Depictions of dragons, stuff like that. So I rest my case. There is no evidence that could contradict this at all. Totally.
What are you classifying as a dragon?
Okay. So from a fantasy perspective, essentially not even just winged lizards, because like Japanese dragons don't have wings, but they can fly. You know what I mean? The luck dragon doesn't have wings, but it can fly. So not necessarily winged lizards, I guess. That's a good question. Large lizards that I don't know what the actual the definition of dragon is. Because they're all different. Some of them.
So then, if you don't have a basic definition of what a dragon is, then you don't have any proof of. You don't have any basis for us to find our proof. So what you're saying is, here's an idea that you cannot substantiate at all because there's no clear definition for it. Most people want to say that the anglicized version of a dragon, large wings, 4 legs, tail, breathes fire, is a dragon. Some people will say that if it doesn't breathe fire, it's not a dragon. If it doesn't have 4 legs, it's not a dragon. What's that? So if you have all these different ideas and specifications for what a dragon is, then those aren't all dragons. Those are just, hey, Carl came up with an idea of something that might be cool. Should we build a statue to it? And that's probably what happened. Let me tell you the intelligence level of people that you're working with here. I don't mean to bring everything back to Pokemon, But the reason that Charmander is a fire charm like lizard is they used to believe that salamanders were born from fire because they would throw a log onto the fire and then a salamander would come running out of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Not once did they think, hey, maybe salamanders just live under these logs that we're burning. And secondly, like the not even just the elements but the actual design of the dragons. Yes, you have similarities such as in like South American dragons and East Asian dragons, but then you get into like the drakens, the Greek dragons opposed to wyverns, worms, things like that. Like there's so many variations in it. You have to think either somebody started with one story and it just got crazy due to oral tradition, or they're all just made up, and that's why there's so many different reasons for it. When we get into topics like Bigfoot, most of the accounts of like Sasquatch, Yeti, things that like are somewhat related, the only difference is like the climate that they were found in. The physical characteristics are usually the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeti sometimes has more white fur, but we look at polar bears and brown bears, we don't say those are two completely different creatures. They just have different fur. When we get into dragons, it's such a huge disparity in what it is. I cannot believe that they're all the same thing. And so, therefore, with the way that an imagination runs, especially back then when there was nothing to do besides just create stories and tell oral traditions, I believe that they're just stories. Either that or we found bones way before we think dinosaur bones were found. Excuse me. And people were just like, oh my goodness, this had to be a dragon. Look how big this lizard was.
Mm-hmm. I would also like to point. I would also like to point something else out that I'm just now thinking of that I didn't have in mind when I was thinking of my topic for this week. Skyrim dragons. On the thought that dragons would have to have hollow bones, at least flying dragons, the anglicized dragons with 4 legs, 2 wings, breathing fire. If those dragons were to fly, they would have to have hollow bones because thick bones, the bones that are not hollow, way too heavy for a flying creature. On top of all of the scale plating, armor, stuff like that dragons traditionally have, very heavy. Those bones would not weigh that much because every time you pick up those bones in Skyrim, you're weighed down, you're encumbered, and you have to get rid of items in order to carry the dragon bones. But the dragon bones are super valuable, so you don't want to just like leave them there and like lose them.
Well, I don't know if dragon bones technically have to be, because the reason why birds have hollow bones is because they don't always just use their self propeller. They also use wind currents to fly. And like if we look at other flying creatures, like according to the laws of aerodynamics, bees should not be able to fly.
Right.
Their tiny wings are too fat or too small to fly to propel their tiny fat bodies. Yet they fly.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I don't want to fully diminish your belief. You can believe dragons are real if you want, but if your entire basis is based off of the idea that they had hollow bones, so those would decompose faster and easier, so that fossils cannot be found.
Listen,
technically, they don't have to have hollow bones.
As a Christian, my entire ideology relies on faith, and I just have to have faith that dragons existed without having any substantial evidence. You know what I mean?
And that's fair. I know I came at it with a completely analytical way and just sat there and dismissed everything that you said. To be fair, you presented it like it was a court argument, and all I have to say is the defense rests, Your Honor.
Also, to be fair, you can't prove that dragons didn't exist based on the single theory that they had hollow bones. I can't prove that they did exist, nor can you prove that they didn't exist because of that single solitary theory. So I guess in all technicalities, we're at a standstill in the middle. Like,
that's fair.
If this was an analytical argument in which I had prepared facts and you had prepared facts, I would be the religious person, because most religions are built off of faith, not actually seeing stuff like that. Most non-religious beliefs are very, very scientific and very based off of just scientific findings. So
are you calling me a dragon atheist?
I'm calling you a dragon atheist. That's exactly what I'm calling you.
In high school, I did a debate in one of my classes once about whether or not Santa Claus was real.
Oh boy.
Excuse me. I was on the affirmative.
Santa Claus is real?
Yes.
Okay.
We had two arguments. My opponent took the argument of here's all the facts that would have to be true if Santa was real, such as how fast the reindeer would be having to go to hit every single house in the world. Like, it was this crazy fast speed and math problem and things that wouldn't work. We then rebutted that with the idea of Saint Nicholas, the real person who became the story of Santa Claus. They then had a second point that I don't remember. And it was very high tensions. We were sort of like yelling, speaking fast and everything. They were standing up. Then we get to me on my second point. I didn't plan this at all. Okay. What just happened was pure, unadulterated, just improv magic.
Yeah.
Where I just sat there and I went, Santa Claus is real, because what Santa Claus is an idea. Something that lives inside each and every one of us. The idea to do good for people because we want to do good, or the idea to give other things, give to those who want it, and like this joy that we bring to other people, and basically the embodiment of Christmas spirit within ourselves during this time. Santa is that Santa is what you feel during this time. Blah blah blah. Like, just like a bunch of emotional mumbo jumbo at that point. And we won the debate. And our teacher was like, so the basis of this question came from an article. It was like one of those like write-ins to not self-help, but like Dear Deirdre, like things like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it was this like 9-year-old girl that was like, hi, is Santa real? And the guy responded with a very similar answer to the one that I gave.
Nice.
So I was just like, yeah.
Listen, you are, dare I say, a little bit too good at improv. And I hate that about you. I love it because you're hilarious most of the time, at least. And you and you are very good at Whose Line, which, for the listeners at home who don't know, that is our version of Whose Line Is It Anyway? We were Waynesburg University, so Whose Line.
Whose Line is not affiliated with the CW television show Whose Line Is It Anyways? Nor have they ever been affiliated with that show.
Yeah,
for legal reasons.
For legal reasons. Anyway, so you're very good at it. I, however, I could be equated to a sack of potatoes whenever it comes to any sort of improv. Like, so my mind goes completely blank anytime I'm faced with a stressful situation. Just blank.
The most basic and like important principle to improv, listeners, if you don't know, is yes and. Basically, if someone says something, you then say yeah and then build on it. And I tried to help Matt several times And I would just like give him something. He'd go, "Yeah, for sure." Like you got
That's
the
so
yes,
true.
you got the yes part down. It was you just struggled with the and.
Yeah, no, and actually, as I was reading about podcasts when we were planning on like starting the podcast, which shout out to the McElroy brothers, even though they're not Patreon subscribers. Um,
Yeah.
I did read their book. Everybody has a podcast except for you, or except you. Doesn't matter. Good book. But they talked about yes anding, to kind of keep the flow going, which is really good. I also, yeah, no, that's a good point. It's also good in D&D to keep the story flowing in there as
Yes.
well.
I find it so ironic that that's one of their tips, given how many times Griffin will just shut down any bit that Travis starts.
No.
Hey, Travis, I hate that.
They made me who I am today. I could not be here without them. I love them. Love them
I'm
dearly.
so glad you introduced me to them. I listen every week to their podcast, and it's always good.
You can thank Galen, if I'm being 100% honest, because she introduced me to them through the YouTube like short clips. Just like sitting there listening to their like the best of, or like the funniest moments in some of the episodes. She showed me Shrimp Heaven Now first, I believe, or one of the first, and it was the funniest thing I ever heard. So that's kind of what got me into them.
You had mentioned them to me a few times and kept telling me I needed to listen. And one thing about me is if anyone ever recommends something to me, I immediately was like, well, I'm never watching that.
The hipster in me, if I'm not first, I'm never doing it.
It's not even that. It's just that I have no interest in that now. Like when Squid Games was out, everyone was like, "You have to watch Squid Games. It's the greatest show ever." It's like I'm no. Every time you say that, that makes me want to watch it less. But like that happened when he was like, "You got to listen to it. You got to listen to it. It was great." And then on TikTok, because everything comes back to that now. Um, someone was dubbing the Olive Garden bit
with the pasta in the tube.
Yeah, with the eating pasta chips, I think is what the guy called them. And I was like, Matt, what is this from? Like, this is great, right? And he goes, that's from my brother and me. And I was like, find me the episode now.
I think I did. I think I had some searching to do, but I did find the episode eventually. Yeah, no, that they are top tier, absolutely. I will recommend them to anyone and everyone.
Yeah, if you're looking for a podcast, I highly recommend that. There are like inside jokes and things, but honestly, just jump in whenever, and I promise it'll make sense.
Yeah, I started like I got into them obviously after they were several hundred episodes in. So I tried to start from the beginning, and then I got to, I think, episodes like in the 300s. I think there's like 500 or 600 now. It's impossible to listen to it from the beginning unless you have a lot of time on your hands. So start from the newest episodes. Start just randomly listening to episodes that sound cool. I don't know.
I'd say all the new start randomly listening to the new episodes as they come out, and look for their live shows.
Yeah.
Those are always good. They're always chaotic and fun. But like in a good way.
Little disclaimer for the listeners at home: we are not like sponsored or partnering with my brother and me, or any of the
we were.
I wish more than anything that I was, but I'm just promoting them because I love them so much.
They are like, I don't want to say idols, but like they're role models. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes. If my dream would be to either have them hear this ever, like just this show ever, or to have them on the show. That would be,
to do an episode with them would be just one of them.
One of
even
them.
if it was Clint. Clint, you want to talk
What do
with
you
us?
mean?
We'll talk with you,
What do you
Clint.
mean, even if it was Clint?
Well, some people don't think Clint is that important, but Clint started it all. Clint is the reason I come in.
Clint is sometimes the funniest one of all of them.
Of course, I want peanut butter, Clint.
They each have their moments. I will give it to them. But regardless, that would be a dream come true. I would probably pass out or die afterwards.
Yeah.
But I would be dying happy. I would be dying happy.
All right. Yeah, I fully agree. They're great. We are going a little long, but I just have one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick.
Okay.
Did you hear the news? The biggest news of this week? There was an election that was held this week. It was very important. There was voting done to make sure that the best possible candidate was chosen, and I, for one, finally feel secure that who was chosen was the right choice. Feel like where we're going as a country with this person in this position, I finally feel safe and secure with what my future is looking like.
Was there another cat elected mayor somewhere or like governor?
No, Chris Evans was voted 2022 sexiest man alive.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. That's really not where I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, no. If you didn't hear, people's sexiest man alive for 2022 is Chris Evans, aka Captain America.
Yeah.
My favorite Avenger and the hottest of the Chris's.
Well,
we I knew you were going to do this.
For listeners at home, we've had this debate for a long time. All throughout college, which Chris was the hottest. And it's not even just like, I mean, okay, of the Avengers, Chris Hemsworth takes it by far.
No.
Of the Chris's, like the acting Chris's, definitely Chris Pine. Definitely Chris Pine.
Chris Pine is hot.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it from a couple different factors.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hemsworth is not a good cuddler. He's too big to be a good cuddler. He's too bulky. Chris Evans will throw on a nice sweater. He'll sit and read a book with me on a rainy day by a fire. That is a man that'll be there, that'll cuddle me, that will have a nice time with me.
Ransom from Knives Out in the white sweater? Yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
Peak.
I mean, he was I shouldn't spoil the movie in case anybody hasn't seen it. He wasn't a great guy.
No, but
not a good fella. But sweater,
that was Ransom, not Chris Evans.
True.
But I was talking about this with our friend Courtney, and I told her that Chris Evans won, and she was like, "Oh," I was like, "What? You didn't think he should win?" She said no, and so I was like, "Okay, well, who do you think should be the sexiest man alive?" And she looked at me dead in my face, and she said to me, "I don't know who to pick. Do they have to be alive?"
Sexiest man alive. Yes, they very much have to be alive.
Does the sexiest man alive have to be alive to get voted in?
They should start a sexiest dead man. Sexiest dead men.
But I also saw someone like was going through like who got voted sexiest man alive like from the beginning and everything. I think it was like the late 80s. Sean Connery was voted sexiest man alive.
In the 80s?
Yeah, like Indiana Jones Sean Connery.
Right. I would understand if it was like the James Bond 60s, like Sean Connery.
Right.
But all right. Well, I mean, I'm not the one voting for the sexiest man alive. So I guess
There was that, and then Richard Gere from Pretty Woman. He got it twice, and so did Brad Pitt.
I can see Brad Pitt just because everybody freaking loves Brad Pitt.
Right.
Richard Gere?
Yeah. Or Greer.
Oh, a lot of people did like him, in his heyday at least. And didn't Paul Rudd win it like a whole bunch, or at least once or twice?
I think he won last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. That man doesn't age. Like, he looks the exact same. You know what? He might be a vampire. Who knows?
Yeah, he won last year. 2020 was Michael B. Jordan, which I agree with.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
2019 was John Legend.
Okay.
I don't know. Every time I look at him, I see Arthur, just because of all the memes on the internet. Let's see. 2018 was Idris Elba, which,
that's fair.
yeah. I mean, back when he was on The Office, they were talking about how sexy he was.
Yeah.
So no, this was a controversial one. I don't know if you remember this. 2017 Blake Shelton.
Oh, I do remember that one, and I very much don't agree.
Yeah, he's definitely up there in the sense of like what country music stars look like.
Right.
But I wouldn't say he's sexiest man alive.
He's not even the sexiest country star, let alone the sexiest man alive.
Right. But I guess like with the voice and everything that he had all that fame at that point. I don't know.
I could not tell you.
Here's one. I didn't know this, and I don't know why I didn't know this. 2016, Dwayne The Rock Johnson was sexiest man alive.
Go Rock. All right. Listen, not being attracted to men does have some drawbacks in the fact that I don't understand any of this. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that people find sexy that I look at them and I'm like, really? Like, is really? And a lot of people say it has to do with like the female gaze is a lot different than, you know, the male gaze, all that stuff. So like I get it. I'm looking from a perspective of I want that, not in a sexual way, but like I would like to look like that because it's, you know, male beauty standards, all that stuff. They're looking at it from a perspective like, you know, could I cuddle with that? And stuff like that. And I should be super binary with that because it's, you know, men, women, all that in between too that don't fit in the binary. But still, I mean, I'm not attracted to men, so I don't understand it.
I'm not attracted to men either, but like from looking at the list of men here, seems like people with nice facial structure and nice muscles are really what they're going for. Yeah. Like for 2015, David Beckham.
I could see that.
Yeah, that
the
one
accent
makes sense.
too helps him.
2014 was Chris Hemsworth. Very, very poor photo choice because it has like the short-haired Chris Hemsworth, like the medium long hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the old, you know, early 2000s, like pretty boy. Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
Oh, speaking of early 2000s pretty boy, 2013 was Adam Levine.
Adam Levine, really? Wow. I mean, I could see it.
For sure. 2012 was Channing Tatum. 2011 was Bradley Cooper. 2010 was Ryan Reynolds.
Yep. He should be a repeat if I'm being 100% on.
Oh, definitely. 2009 was Johnny Depp.
Okay, all right.
2008 was Hugh Jackman.
That's fair.
2007 was Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, the
In
second.
again, they chose a poor photo for him, I think.
I don't think so. I actually think that's a decent photo of him.
I don't know. Maybe it's because like the biggest movie I think of with him is
Jason Bourne.
No, Good Will Hunting.
Oh, that's fair. He was a lot younger in that, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think my first thought with him is the Bourne movies.
That's fair.
He was really big around that time with all those. Who votes for the sexiest man alive? Like where did they get these numbers? Is there like a secret group of people that just like every year they scour the internet for like the sexiest man alive?
I think it's the writers at People magazine.
Okay. And why is it I listen. Okay. I live in America. So obviously that's the only people I see. Why is it that 90% of them, I don't know the actual percentage. I'm just spitballing here in a dramatic hyperbolic way. Why are they mostly Americans? I know Chris Hemsworth, not David Beckham, not there might even be some Canadians thrown in there. Why are they it feels to me they're mostly Americans. They're also a bunch of white men.
Yeah, that's not great. There's other reasons why this is sometimes problematic. Like the first man to ever win Sexiest Man Alive was Mel Gibson.
Oh, nice.
But
sexiest man alive in like 97, Jeffrey Epstein.
well, it started in 1985, and this is like before all the controversy and everything. But like,
okay.
1986, Mark Harmon.
Gibbs
from NCIS.
Gibbs. See, I can see that because a lot of people, even in his age in NCIS, pine over him. You know what I mean?
He had nice eyes. He has those blue eyes that'll pierce through your soul.
Yeah.
87 was Harry Hamlin. I'm not exactly sure who that is.
I'm looking at the time. I'm positive. No, none of our listeners are here. They're all gone. They've tuned out.
All right, that's fine.
They love Connor. I'm sorry. They love the sexiest man alive bit. They love it a lot. I love it a lot. It's my favorite bit we've ever done.
I will leave you with this. In the year we were born, 1998. 56-year-old Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford? The year we were born.
The year we were born.
He was in a lot of action movies, though.
Yeah.
Right around that and the early 2000s. Lots of stuff. So I could see it.
I see it as well. I just feel like I know it wasn't around early. Like I would have gone earlier than that for him. Not that he was bad looking at that time. It's just I think there was a hotter version of Harrison Ford.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I mean, it would be wildly insane if like today's Harrison Ford got it.
Yeah, that just the earrings shimmering in the photo.
Oh man.
But yeah, I really just wanted to celebrate Captain America being the sexiest man alive, which it's crazy to me that it took that long. Because
of course. And you might have to bleep this out, but he does have America's ass.
But like Blake Shelton was awarded it before he was.
Yeah.
It's not like he wasn't a big star back then.
Yeah. That's
like
true.
that was the year after Civil War came out.
It did take a while.
Anyways, that's our judgment on the sexiest men alive. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, we are at the Garlic Boys. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $3 a month. We have several different tiers, whichever one works best for you. Please, we appreciate the support, as well as we will be posting episodes on YouTube for the video version. Those posts will be going up a month after they're filmed, and those will be going up every Wednesday. So if you go and search us on YouTube right now, or click the link in the description, you'll be able to watch our first episode, which was Halloween shampoo and cryptids, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Halloween monsters and shampoo, I think was. You'll be able to watch the video version of the podcast on there. Matt, any final thoughts?
I mean, sort of kind of just on the same line. Any support helps, like saying that you really like the podcast to us in person or online. That's dope. That boosts our spirits a lot, makes us, remember why we're doing this. But obviously monetary also helps, but liking and sharing also helps. Word of mouth, great for starting podcasts. So anything you do helps. We appreciate it all. We understand not everybody has money to just willy-nilly throw away, especially in the age of streaming and stuff. But I'll cut my rant short. I appreciate it, is what I'm trying to say for everybody out there.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely appreciate whatever you're able to do. Simply just sharing it with your friends. But yeah, if you feel so inclined to visit our Patreon, I'm not going to stop you.
I won't hold you at gunpoint to do it, and I also won't hold you at gunpoint to not do it.
That's definitely going to cut out.
What? Right. I said I wasn't going to threaten them, no matter what they do.
It's not what you said; it's how you said it. All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and as always, remember to stay
garlicky.
You always say that you're ready, and it's a lag, but that one you were totally not ready for.
That one I definitely wasn't ready for.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stay garlicky.